Thought I'd give a little tour of the chicken coop. This is a shed that was bought from a friend who lives about 10 kilometers away. He sold it to us for about $800. And this is a time when wood is peaking. A shed like that is going for around $2,000, $2,500. So it's a good deal. It was going to cost me a lot more to actually make it. And there's one of my several grandsons, Joel. Say hello, Joel. So I'll show you what I did to convert just a storage shed into a chicken coop. Hopefully you caught that teenage rooster trying to crow up a storm. He hasn't had anyone to teach him, so he's self-taught. Unfortunately, we didn't want a bunch of roosters, but we've got them. And every one of them has a name, so that doesn't bode well either. And there's 10 of them. So he's telling us it's morning time, Rose. So I've just used minimal expense items, my wife as well. So we had these small posts in the pasture. Scrounge those up, those are 6 foot, so they're driven in roughly, they're just under 2 feet into the ground. And then we bought the chicken wire 50 feet, ran it around, attached it to the coop, made a gate, very simple. The latch opens, and then a critter guard at the bottom. The wire is all buried, about 6 inches, and that's just an old animal carrying cage we scrounged up. We were using that to have them out on the grass, but we've since built something a little bigger. They like to get up on top of it. See, there's 2 roosters. The watering bowl at the back. The hatch, which is operable from outside the pen, and latches. The netting was about 20 bucks. That's just temporary until we can we make the pen bigger and then put an actual chicken wire top on it. There's a lot of hawks and eagles around here and owls, so they're always keeping their eyes open. So we have the window is a glass block that we had, so I put into the side wall. And then we've got some venting. In the winter especially, they'll need some venting. So I put a 4x4 post there and anchored into the ground. Since this is such a tall and skinny building, did that so that it has a little more protection against the wind blowing it over. It's sitting on just dirt. It's got runners underneath it, so my friend built it, and then took quite a bit of effort, but found the wiring that was in the ground. It runs across to the pole shed and across to waterer there. This was a paddock that had bulls in it, bulls and cows, and just some tool storage on the side. And increase the venting. We're going through a bit of a heat wave now, so I put a vent in yesterday up at the roof, trying to allow a little more airflow to cool things off a bit. It does have an attic area, so just trying to keep the roof cooler, and then a sliding plate just to seal it off for the winter. But I did have to kill the wasp nest first. And I used some foaming wasp spray. I highly recommend that stuff. It's like no risk wasp eradication. It foams up and blocks them in the hive, and then they die. It has a split door, and then it has a top hatch as well. So screen, and that will help to open that. It'll help to cool things off in the summer. So here we have storage. the vent at the back. This is the uninsulated portion, just for storage and such. The bale for chicken patting. Grandkids love to pat the chickens. I put an outlet on both sides of the wall for a fan. The fan presently sits up here, so it can go anywhere. And there's a light for the storage area, as well as the vent coming in for the winter. And then storage for shavings and food. And there's a vent. There's a vent down at the bottom. My thinking was that the air would come in the winter, give them fresh air, settle down, blow in through the bottom there, and as it heats up, then it would go out this vent here. And there's the glass block window. Yes? Okay. A series of roosts. Nesting boxes. They haven't started laying eggs yet. All they do is eat food. And I don't think we have 6 hens. I'm feared. So various roosts here. At this point, they all like to be together. So all 10 of them roost up here, snuggled in a bundle. And right now it's 22 degrees in here. Outside it's about 26. And then the heat is here. It should be sufficient to keep it above freezing. And that's a 250 watt infrared, a switch to turn it off, and a thermostat to control it. The thermostat is for baseboard heaters, costs $14. Can certainly handle 250 watts. Here's the outlet. It's important on this side to have covers, so the chickens don't do something like sit up here and then poop all over that. So this is the feed box. This was my wife's idea. The lid, you dump the food in there. Right now it's too big an opening for the food because they're still on chick feed. They become adults. With another month or so, you can start switching them to larger food. And then they have another waterer for the night here. And a thing to peck at with some leaves in it. These are pampered chickens. And then that's the power coming in, the wiring going through the walls. So there's a chicken coop made from a storage shed, and emphasis keeping costs down. So the insulation on this is 4 inches in the walls of fiberglass. I just put this 2 inches of cheap styrofoam against the joist. There's a bit of a gap here. And then the top is insulated with 8 inches of fiberglass. And my wife decked it. Some of it apparently, not as much as I thought. And then under the floor, it has 8 inches of the white styrofoam as well. And then sealed off with boards and dirt put against it. So try and keep the critters out, and it should help to keep the floor warm enough. There's the chickens. They're called Chicken Tractor, and there's Joel, the Chicken Meister. And this is the hatch. Very bright. Hopefully it adjusts for this. It's just got a mechanism, just a rod. So if you close it tight like that, then no critters should be able to claw that open. If they do dig underneath the fence, or they get in during the day. If they get in during the day, it's a different problem. But at night, close it like that. And then this can latch here. onto the hook. Just adds a little tension. It's harder to open. And then the bend in the wire hooks on the fence. This is what we hauled the shed with. It was only about 10 kilometers, most of it on grid road. Stay off the main highway. And the highway is out that way, 2 kilometers away. So I only had about a kilometer and a half on the highway with the shed strapped in there. So you can imagine it was pretty tall and skinny. We had it strapped well enough. Didn't wobble at all. It shifted just a little bit sideways on one corner, but we used a little tractor at the back to pull it off carefully. So that worked. It's a couple hour process to load it and another probably 3 hours to get it off of there. And then I just towed it with the half ton. There's no problem at all. One guy wanted about $500 to load it on his trailer and haul it, so we were motivated. I want to thank you for watching through to the end. I hope you have enjoyed this video and any of the other ones that you have seen. And I have a favor to ask. The way YouTube works and other social media, if I don't have likes and dingy bells, then I get ignored. So it's getting harder and harder to find my channel when I do searches to check on how it's going. So if you could subscribe or hit the little dingy bell, that would be wonderful. That would help me a lot. If you think you have some friends who might enjoy this series, I ask you to let them know. The more that YouTube and Rumble, etc. see favorites and people who are watching, the more they recommend it. It's getting so that when I even search my channel with the exact name, I end up down the list, and they're putting other sites before this one. So if you could help out in that way, I would sincerely appreciate it. To this point, in the 6 months or so that I've been doing these videos, I've received one comment, which tells me that not many people are watching. The most popular video I've had is about 250 people. So I'm not complaining, and I do hope this is helpful. I would like to see more people watching. It would help to encourage me in these efforts. And the one comment I did have, though, was positive. So in that regard, I'm running a 100% positivity rate. Thank you.